So good afternoon, one and all. Today I would like to explain the multi-threading programming, the next part. So yesterday I have discussed what is multi-threaded programming. So what is thread? The two or more in multi-threaded program, two or more parts that can run concurrently. We can divide the program into different processes and divide the process into different subtasks, and each subtask is treated as a thread. A thread is a separate path of execution, and it is a basically lightweight sub-process and a smallest unit of processing. So there are two distinct types of multitasking. So process-based and thread-based. Yesterday I discussed these concepts. So slide number 3. A process is a program that is executing. So, but a program is a smallest unit of the code that can be dispatched by the scheduler. A thread is the smallest unit of dispatchable code. That means that a single program can perform two or more tasks simultaneously. So, for example, in the Word or in the text editor Notepad, you are typing or editing some text. Same time, you are printing. So, these are two, printing and editing. These two tasks separately we are doing. So, Java process. So, how the Java program is divided into different subtasks. Class 1 main thread. So, class 2 another thread, class 3 another thread, like that. So, same program is divided into different threads. So, means simultaneously you can execute the all tasks, all actions within a time. So the advantage of this multi-threading is to maximize the CPU time, maximum use of the CPU, and because it reduces the idle time by keeping the CPU in the minimum. So to avoid that, we are using this multi-threading concept. So Java class thread model. So Java supports all the thread class libraries. So they are designed for multi-threading, and so Java uses threads to enable the entire environment to be asynchronous. Asynchronous means we don't know which thread is executing when, whether it runs first or last, all those. So later one diagram. So in the dual core, quad core, so the CPU is in a position to execute million instructions per second or billion instructions per second. But if the CPU is so performing so fast, if we are not allocating much work for that, so simply we are wasting the CPU time. To utilize that CPU time, we are using that multi-threading. And what happens in the previously in the single threaded systems? In the single threaded systems, only slide number 10. In the single threaded systems, only one thread is responsible to execute all the actions. In that case, so the user has to wait till completion of the thread operations. To avoid that, so Java supports multi-threading environment. So here there are n number of threads, and these number of threads are able to execute simultaneously, and it avoids the loop owning mechanism, or it avoids the so that single thread disadvantages. So there are different thread states, several states: running state, suspended state, resumed state, blocked state, terminated state. Running state means so it can be ready to run as soon as it gets the CPU time. So thread is ready to run, but it is waiting for the CPU time. A suspended thread means the thread is temporarily suspends its activity because it is waiting for some user input, or it is waiting for to open a file, to read a file, some network configurations. Because of some operations, it is waiting in the program. So that we call it as a suspended thread. Resumed means thread is resumed means after waiting again it starts its executing where it is previously left off. So that is the resumed state. Blocked means a thread can be blocked when waiting for a resource again. So because it is needs some other more resources, then it is in the blocked states. So once all the operations are over, a thread can be terminated, which halts the execution immediately. So the life cycle of a thread, so new thread, so that is the new state, and the new thread to the runnable thread using the start function. So life cycle in the slide number 12. So new state to the runnable state to the running state to the waiting state. So running state to the waiting state with help of sleep or wait. Sleep is a function, it is used to temporarily hold for a period of time. So 10 second, 20 second, 30 second, you can assign the time value, then that time, that much of time the program waits or thread waits. So once everything is over, the dead state, end of the execution. So next, this class, the thread priorities. So Java assigns to each thread a priority that determines how that thread should be treated with respect to others. So maybe in the same program there are high priority threads, low priority threads, average priority threads, like that. You can assign the priority 1 to 9. So 1 means very low priority, 9 means very high priority, or we can assign 1 means very high priority, 9 means very low priority, like that. So based on this you can run the threads. So as a user you are having the control. You can decide which thread has to execute first, which thread has to execute last. So but these thread priorities are integers. So this priority is an integer number that specifies the relative priority to one thread to other thread. But sometimes it is gives some problems. To avoid that thread priority, we are using the context switch. Again, in the context switch we are using the thread priority, but a thread priority is used to decide when to switch from one running thread to the next. So this is called context switch. So it is a process. Context switch is a process. Here we are deciding which thread has to execute first, which thread has to execute next, like that. Slide number 13. So thread priorities. So we are using in the thread priorities, we are using the context switch mechanism. So but how we are deciding the context switch? So the rules that determine when a context switch takes place, very simple. So there are two ways when to shift from one thread to another thread. First one is, a thread can voluntarily relinquish control. So see slide number 14. A thread can voluntarily relinquish control. Voluntarily relinquish control means automatically it releases the CPU by thread. So this is done by explicitly yielding, sleeping, or blocking on pending IO. So a thread can yield. A thread can yield means it has to run start, or sleep. It has to go for some period of time to sleeping, means it is not doing any useful work in that time. Or block means, so it may be waiting for some input and output operations, pending input and output operations. So this is the first condition. So context is when the one thread to another thread start execution is decided by this relinquishing the control. So in this scenario all threads are examined, and once if you are shifting from one thread to another thread, so here you are checking other threads. So out of 10 threads, if 2 threads are going for sleeping, yielding, or blocking, then remaining 8 threads are checked for highest priority. Out of 8, which is the highest priority thread, so that gets the CPU. So next, a thread can be preempted. Preemption means, in operating system, I think you already studied, automatically releasing its control. A thread can be preempted by high priority thread. Once a high priority thread occurs, comes in the program execution, the lower priority thread, it doesn't lead the process, means it simply preempted. It allocates the high priority thread to run its operations. So this is preemptive multitasking. So next, synchronization. Are you getting what I am telling? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So synchronization, why here synchronization means? See, in the multi-threading environment, if 2 or more threads are running for or fighting for same resources, then we need to control all the threads. So there is a mechanism needed for cooperation, mutual understanding, coordination between all the threads. So to perform all the threads, or to make all threads work in a similar way, we are having the concept of synchronization, because the multi-threading introduces an asynchronous behavior. Asynchronous behavior means which thread starts execution, which thread stops its execution. So which are the high priority threads, which are the low priority threads. So we don't know how the operating system allocates the CPU time, how operating system allocates the other resources to the threads. So based on the availability, all threads are start execution. So there must be some synchronization. Some synchronization is there, then only you will get the proper results. Otherwise it is very difficult. See, in the slide number 16, if you want 2 threads to communicate and share a complicated data structure, you made a program and ask 2 threads to share data. So if you ask the 2 threads to share the same data structure, then there may be a problem. So which thread has to read first, which thread has to write first, to ensure that they don't conflict with each other. To avoid problems, we have synchronization. So you must prevent one thread from writing data while another thread is in the middle of reading it. So the thread class and the runnable interface. So I told, if you want to create a thread, there are two ways. One is you can take the help of thread class, and another one is take the help of runnable interface. So extending the thread class, implementing the runnable interface. So in Java multi-threading system, it's built upon the thread class, its methods and its companion interface, runnable. So if you want to use interface, you can take help of runnable interface. So that runnable interface contains the thread class, its methods and all its supportive operations. So next, a thread encapsulates a thread of execution. A single thread encapsulates a thread of execution, automatically start execution based on your input. To create a new thread, so your program will either extend a thread or implement the runnable interface. And so there are some functions that are necessary to control the thread class. So for example, sometimes I want to get the name of the thread, I want to set the priority, or I want to assign the new priority. I want to check the priority, whether that thread is running or dead, whether the thread is terminated or not, means join state. Sometimes which is the running point of starting or running point for the thread. Sometimes I want to make the thread to sleep, I want to make the thread to start. For all those operations, so the thread class defines several methods. For example, first one is get name. So slide number 18. So get name, it is used to get the or obtain a thread's name. In your program, if you want to know the name of the thread, so call the function get name. If you want to check the priority of a thread, so call the function get priority. It obtains the thread priority. Is alive. So third one is alive. It is used to determine if a thread is still running or not. Join, wait for a thread to terminate. So join is like a function. It is used to terminate a thread. Means you have to wait. If you call the join function, so the join function tells the user when that thread is terminated. And before termination, what are its status? Everything is informed to the user. Run. So run function is the entry point for the thread. Sleep, suspend a thread for a period of time. Sleep 20 minutes, so 20 milliseconds or nanoseconds, the thread will sleep. Start. So start is a thread. Start a thread by calling its run method. Once you call the start function, internally start function calls the run method. So next, slide number 19. So the Java main thread. So in the main, so public static void main. So main itself is a one thread. So when a Java program starts, so automatically this thread start executing and immediately, and this main thread is usually having all the necessary information about that thread, and this is the main thread because it is the one that is executed when your program starts. And so the main thread is very important for two reasons. It is the thread. It is a thread from which other child threads will be started. So from this thread, other threads will start execution. And another important use of this main thread is, so once everything is over, so the main thread, it finishes execution and performs various shutdown actions. Whatever you done in the program, so everything is cleaned up by this main thread. Means if you are opened any threads, so they are closed by this thread. So complete shutdown means it clears everything. So the main thread is created automatically when your program is started. It can be controlled through a thread objects. Next, if you want to know the details about your current thread information or the main thread information, then call the current thread. So you must obtain a reference to get this method by current thread function. Slide number 20. The slide number 20, the current thread. Current thread is a built-in function in the thread class, which is a public static member of a thread. Its general form is static thread current thread. So static. So static keyword means all objects can access. So this thread is a class current thread. If you want to get which thread is currently running, its name, you call this function. So there is a function here. So there is a program here, slide number 21. So here we are creating one thread. So class current thread demo. So current thread demo is a user defined class name, public static void main string arguments. So automatically, so this main is a one thread, it start execution. So for that main thread we are creating object thread T. So T is a name of the object for the thread class, thread dot current thread. So thread main class, under that current thread method. So I want to get the current thread name. So that's why thread dot current thread system dot out dot println current thread plus T. So plus T is object of type thread class. It holds the current or currently running thread information. Here the currently running thread is main. So it prints that the main information here. So now next I want to change the name of the thread, T dot set name my thread. So now I want to change T dot set name my thread. So we can give any name here. So here they are giving my thread. If you give anything sgbyt, so then the thread name is changed to sgbyt. If you change Kumar, then thread name is changed to Kumar. So like that. So T dot set name, the old name is replaced with the my thread. After name changes, it prints my thread and its details. So simply we are again using the try cast block. We are printing the numbers 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in the reverse order. But at the time of printing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we are giving some interval. So thread dot sleep. So sleep 1000 means 1000 milliseconds it waits for printing another number. It first prints the 5, waits for or sleeps for 1000 milliseconds. Then it prints 4, sleeps for other 1000 milliseconds. Next 3000 milliseconds sleep, 2000 milliseconds sleep, then 1 like that. So in the next slide, so there is a output. So current thread main 5 main. So here the name of the thread main and its line number and its details. So after changing the name of the thread, so main to my thread, and it is available in main. So next numbers 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. For each number it gives 1000 milliseconds of the sleeping time. So I told for creating a thread there are two possible ways. One is you can implement the runnable interface. Second one is you can extend the thread class. You create a thread by creating the object of type thread, but Java defines two ways in which so thread can be created. So first one is you can implement the runnable interface. Second, you can extend the thread class. So in the implementing the runnable interface, so you create a class that implements the runnable interface. Class A implements runnable like that. So in the within a runnable interface, so you can call the run function. So how you are calling the run function is as follows: public void run. So to implement runnable, a class need only implement a single method called run. Within that run, you can define what actually you want to execute, or you define the code that constitute the new thread. So next you create the object for that class. So thread runnable thread object string thread name in the next slide number 25. So once you take the help of runnable interface, so next you create the object thread and create a new thread OB. So here runnable thread OB. Runnable is a keyword. Thread OB is your own object, and assign the any value for that name thread. So string thread name. So in this constructor thread OB is an instance of a class, is object of type so thread, and thread name is any user defined value. So after the new thread is created, it will not start event until you start the start function. So once you call the start function only, then it calls run method. So the run, we see in the program we have used the run, but run can be started with the help of start method. So that start method is also a part of thread class. In a sense, the start function, it executes call to the run method. So the start method, its syntax is shown here, void start. So it doesn't return any value. So I will explain next class remaining parts. Thank you. Thank you, Ananda.